Hey everybody, welcome to Nursery, Episode 2, a podcast about whatever you'd like. In this episode I interview Steve Boyle, my youngest brother. His musician name is Summer Camp Steve. If you would, go to Spotify, iTunes, somewhere online where you listen to music. Check out Summer Camp Steve's album, It's Okay, I'll Love You Always Anyway. It features this song, Cold Rain.
I can change your mind. I can change your mind. I can change your mind. Let's go rain inside my shoes. Let's go rain inside my heart. Let's go rain inside my shoes. Let's go rain inside my heart. I can't change your mind. And I can change your mind. I met this girl, she was named Caroline, and I met her on a subway, it was only one time. And of course she was from New York, and the ball was always in her court. I was the one who wanted her more. I said, you know my last name, but I don't know yours. Sometimes I start to get bored, but I'd rather be doing this than sword and force. I'll marry you before I bury you.
And we're back. Hi, it's DJ. Yeah, it's me. So that was Cold Rain by Summer Camp Steve. That was kind of a spin-off of a song I did in my band Third Class called Cold Morning Rain. I'm going to play a little piece of that song, Cold Morning Rain, right now. You can go online onto thirdclass.net and buy the album Hymns from Some Small Town with this song on it.
Cold rain inside my shoe. Cold rain inside my heart. There's nothing I could do that wouldn't give you a start. Oh, toys out on the lawn. Oh, toys in memories. I feel old age come on. Young boys, they laugh at me, and I can't change your mind. And I can't change your mind.
Okay, that was Cold Morning Rain by Third Class. Now, before we get into the interview with Steve Boyle, aka Summer Camp Steve, I'd just like to mention that this podcast is sponsored by The Orange Avocado. The Orange Avocado Alternative Bakery, specializing in vegan, gluten-free treats made with organic and raw ingredients. Check it out. It's great food. It is available at Generations Coffee in Columbiana, Ohio, and Aladdin's Eatery, Boardman, Ohio. Soon to be at the Youngstown Health Food Store on Market Street. If you live in the Youngstown area, the Northeast Ohio area, check out the Orange Avocado. All right, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get straight into the show.
The nursery and all of the trees crossed over the dark, and some old parking lot sold my whimpering thoughts, and I'm on the next train. You and me, can't you see what this means? In the light of a torch, realize nothing is forced, nothing is forced.
Welcome to WQW
So
DJ.
we're not gonna talk.
No, we're not.
Before we do
No.
jump right into it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. This is my brother Steve Boyle. One of the main things him and I do that's actually like a public thing that we do, other than goofing off all the time and playing ping pong with our friends, is him and I are kind of like part of the main cast of a comedy troupe called Bullskit Productions, and you can find all these sweet skits on bullskit.com. They're just free internet, like YouTube skits that we do, just low budget. And we just recently finished up doing a third part of a really fun series called Nowhere, Ohio. And all it is just seriously us goofing off. Like, it's just us pretending not to know how to use the camera correctly and not knowing how to act like hosts and news reporters. And we just try to like traipse around Ohio in a small town, most of the time East Palestine, and just like pretend like we have a scoop on something that we don't have. So it's a really funny, like, disorganized mess of a skit that we have a really good time making. And I just put that up the other day, Nowhere, Ohio 3. So go to bullskit.com and check that out. But anyways, for real, what do you actually think about Ohio?
It was cool. I like it a lot. As a result of traveling around a lot, I've discovered that I'm fortunate for growing up here, and therefore discovering certain things that someone passing through might not have the potential to stumble upon. And so I'm never very enthusiastic to others about Ohio.
Yeah.
And but I encourage them to check it out only if they're passing through.
That reminds me of something. You and me were in a bar playing pool in East Palestine, Ohio, which is on the PA border in Northeast Ohio. And you were telling me about how similar that bar is to like most bars you might wander into in like travels.
Oh, yeah.
Like road trips. Is that kind of what you mean about that? It's like you don't really go around bragging about Ohio to other people because you know that a lot of the same stuff is around, but at the same time, there's these subtle things you enjoy, or is it more like you wouldn't go around bragging about any state you're from because it doesn't, like, is it like that, or is it specifically Ohio?
Well, for Ohio specifically, right, there's nothing too unique in comparison to other places. There's just a lot of cool places amongst the country, and
Yeah, I agree
Ohio obtains a lot of them. And yeah, a bar is a great example of that kind of style, that like
Right.
fun, like I don't know, cool playing pool in the dark with music and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's, I know that's a lot of places. But yeah, it's definitely a good spot for that, but it's not like it's a neat tourist attraction,
Right.
or anything like that. And me especially, I'm like attracted to national parks and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just a little different as far as what I'm passing on to people. Cause
Yeah,
sometimes,
I agree.
Because with my line of work, a lot of the people I'm talking to about like things they might want to do would be like kayaking. And
Yeah. You're like, have you seen Mill Creek Park? There's a pond you can kayak in. It's so great.
Right.
Like, as if you would say that to them compared to, like, say, anywhere in most other states that have lakes. Really,
And I was going to bring up Lake Erie or the Cuyahoga River.
Which is awesome. No, I know, which is awesome. But I guess I mean, like...
incredibly polluted.
They are, and they're great to kayak in. They're fantastic to kayak in. I've done that with our buddies and stuff. But, yeah, like... But still, even less immediate places just in Ohio, they're beautiful. But Ohio is not like a landmark style state. It's a nooks and crannies place where you go and you find things by accident. You find them because you want to find that taste of Midwest and cool people, but it's hard to put on paper what it is. Yeah. Even other states like Kansas, you can easily say Monument Rocks is like a place to destination point, like a national park type thing. But Ohio is more like the entire state is a very subtle national park. It's all just spread, like, it's like, look at the leaves, look at these awesome, like, trees and mountains. Of course, Hocking Hills is like an area you could send somebody, but it's like very much so the beauty is spread. It's not like, it's not like Colorado where it's like check these red rocks out, check this out, check. It's just kind of spread and it's different. Okay, second, what religion are you? You described yourself as a summer camp Christian once. Does that still hold?
No, that does not hold. I consider myself pescatarian.
Oh, okay.
I'm very accepting of everything, whether it's religion or not. And, from working at different camps, the first camp I worked at was a Lutheran camp. And, I talked to my director. I was like, hey, I think I'm agnostic. And he was totally cool with that as long as I was fine with, teaching it. Teaching the Christianity and Lutheran, and I was completely fine with it because that's why the kids were brought there. But from working at other places though too, they kind of don't really do the religion thing, and they have more core values, and they just talk about, sure, the YMCA associations, some people might know, they have core values and stuff, but I've seen other places branch out too, but anyway, it's just generally about respect, responsibility, like diversity, community, stuff like that. And then throw in stewardship to convince the kids to clean up their shit.
Yeah. So now forget about Ohio. Give me like a list of just give me like a handful of really insane things you've seen. Just give me a checklist of really cool things you've seen traveling, whether camps or not, just road trip type things. Not to put you on the spot, but just some beauty or some scary, just things you've seen.
Well, the first thing I thought of was because, I was thinking along the lines of something not really scary, but I kind of thought of an interaction opposed to some beautiful sight or something like that.
Perfect, yeah, that's perfect.
One time I was taking a Greyhound bus from Tucson to Seattle, but I was at the Sacramento Greyhound station, and we were getting ready to leave on the bus, and we're about a minute from the station, and suddenly this guy at the front is making some commotion and stuff, and he's making a lot of accusations about this older lady, apparently, that's also sitting up there. From what I can see, no one else is being disruptive except for this guy making accusations. The older lady that he was making accusations about, she seemed like she might have her own problems, whatever. She wasn't like the most innocent, but I could see that she wasn't doing anything. Anyway, so the driver finally becomes a part of it, trying to look for a solution. He brings it to their attention that he can't actually do anything while driving as far as aiding the solution, so he asks if we should turn around and go back to the station, and the guy making the accusation says yes. And immediately this wave goes over the bus. All these people are like, oh shit, this guy that I had just made friends with kind of on the bus from LA. No, actually it was earlier than that. Anyway, he was pissed because it was if we were going to be on schedule, he would have made it just, so that was the confirming moment for him that he was going to miss his transfer,
really?
In Oregon. That's
just one guy, though.
Yeah.
But most people were annoyed.
And so a lot of people, definitely there's good odds that they were in a similar situation. And because of it, I actually ended up, I was supposed to have a 2-hour transfer in Portland, but it ended up being 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
I mean, mixture of other things built up too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so turn around to go back to the bus station, and then they're finally talking about it. The lights are on, and so the guy making accusations, he is starting to give his point. He's like reiterating everything, kind of, and everyone's focused in, and he's telling his side of the story to a security guard that's on board as well now. And he accuses the older lady of just being crazy, being unstable. And like I said, I didn't see anything. She seemed like she was keeping to herself. And then suddenly, he just kind of, I don't know, I'm judging, like, from his perspective, that he was kind of just trying to throw the cherry on there. He turns to this other guy behind him, who's an older man, and kind of like a older, like, country person, like, I don't know, whatever, probably has a pickup truck. Anyway,
right.
He looks to him and he's like, and this guy over here said something about shooting someone or something, and then so immediately the security guard has no other choice but to just be like, sorry dude, I gotta take you out the bus. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, he mentioned that you might have a gun. It's like, what? No. Like, it was obvious that the older man, if he had said anything, he was just...
he probably said something like, "Oh, just shoot me. This guy's an idiot."
Or, he was explaining how pissed off.
If he ever said
that. Yeah. And right, so it was just so crazy. And the scariest part about it, and ironically too, this was the only bus station that they had a metal detector at before you got on. I'd never seen that, and like I've gotten searched at Greyhounds a couple times, but never with a metal detector except for Sacramento. Anyway, yeah, ironically, a guy that was on one of my buses in LA actually had a gun on him. He showed it to me. He was planning on selling it, apparently, but he showed it to me that it was loaded. Like me and him, like we had a cigarette together, and he showed it to me. And before I handed him the cigarette, I was like, as long as you don't even play around, like. I don't care if the safety's on or not. Don't even fucking point the handle at me,
And I know you have the intuition to know that there's just a fat chance that, of course nothing bad's going to happen to you, but still, you probably were just like, obviously, like, you probably have the same red flags anybody on the bus would have immediately when going back to the dude, excuse me, when he was like, this lady's acting all crazy, and this guy, the minute he points to the second guy, you guys probably all red flagged and were like, okay, neither the lady or the guy did anything.
Exactly.
And you probably didn't believe him anyways, but just then later to see somebody with a gun immediately and have them not do anything, it just shows the tolerance of most groups of people on buses where you are like, well, this guy's crazy, but if I just keep moving, he'll keep moving. And
and I was about halfway through my trip, so I'd just done 12 hours. About to do 12 hours more. I'm ready to say, I don't care if the old guy has a gun. He's not, like, don't piss him off.
Yeah, no one would.
Otherwise he's going to use it. We were good, dude. Just like, let's go. And the guy that in LA that did have the gun, he was chill though. Like I said, he was just going to sell it, and he's cool. So it's like a mutual understanding. And yeah, so I just pointed that out for the sake of the irony. But right, so the older man that was accused of having a gun was taken off the bus, and so my assumption is that he has to wait 24 hours for the next bus that's doing that same route.
Wow. So
he gets screwed over pretty bad. Although, I forgot about this part of the story. So this went on for a while, and then we finally took off. But right before we took off, someone new, completely new, got on the bus. And he, I don't know, was apparently friends with one of the other people that were on the bus, or like, they had traveled before, and he gets on the bus and he looks at him and he's like, dude, why didn't you wake me up?
You never seen him, right?
Right.
Okay.
But what it revealed though was that this guy
had a gun.
No.
sorry. Go.
He fell asleep in the Greyhound station and missed when we took off the first time. But because of all this commotion, because of us coming back to the station, he got to get on the bus.
Insane. And did he think you were some dude he talked? Oh, he was just talking to anybody who would have been waiting with him before he got
Right,
home.
right. Because all of us had kind of
he had seen you somewhere. He's like, why didn't somebody wait?
Right.
What a confusing thing.
Yeah.
That totally, your story totally rings clear to me. I totally follow it, but just actually being there as being you, that just sounds not like the worst experience of your life, but just confusing.
Oh, yeah. It was just
bad.
wild.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I expect you to be like, so the dude says this other dude has a gun, right? Then this other dude actually had a gun, and I had a gun, but the dude he said had a gun didn't have a gun. Yeah. Also, the dude who was yelling at the lady, that was just me. That was you, wasn't it?
Actually, there was a really long dialogue, and then it turned into a Tarantino film.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of violence for 2 seconds.
And it was all because of you yelling at a lady on the bus.
Right.
I mean, some guy that you didn't know. No, I'm just kidding. That's a pretty good story. Because, that's the kind of stuff you kind of want to hear about. I think people a lot of times ask questions, and they want this, and they want stuff like that, but they don't know how to ask it. That includes me. I said, what are things you're seeing on the way, like landmarks? But that's what I actually wanted. That's what you want, travel stories. So sometimes I hear a few stories of travel in some of your, we incorporate everything we can into the skits we do with Bull Skit, but also Summer Camp Steve. So you have an album, it's rap. How much intentional travel story do you put into that album? Like, I know that a lot of them are more about people than places, like that's your thing, but how much do you attribute travel to songwriting? Do you care about, do you travel in order to get ideas to write ever, like when you have days off from camp? Is it intentional? None of us have the time as artists to be like, I'm going to go on a sabbatical and just create, but do you ever go anywhere to get inspiration? Kind of cheesy question, but...
I definitely do. So, on the buses, I've discovered, like within, I don't know, I guess it was like 2 years ago that I first started doing this, of really trying to just work on the bus, and which is a great opportunity because I'm by myself, and I have no other option to sit there, and nowadays you get Wi-Fi and an outlet, so bam, and so I would write songs just like for the sake of writing it down, or listen to beats, try to think of things, and whatever. So that's been very helpful. A lot of times, like that's like formatting for me when I'm going to be doing all of that. But out in the desert, just putting myself out in the middle of nowhere is a good environment for me, for inspiration at least.
Okay, as I'm up in the clouds, as I'm up in the sky, I wonder what you're doing now, and I wonder why. The mothers are mean and the babies scream, their ears pop and their tears drop as I use this plane as my widow watch. I look for you from a higher spot than the tip-top peak at the treetops. As I'm up in the air, as I'm deep in thought, I wonder, will you remember me? Ha 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 ha, probably not. It's okay, cause I love you always anyway. I just want to make you happy. I just want your soul. I just want to make you happy. I just want to love your soul. I just want to love your soul.
You don't write while you're in the desert, do you? You like have to have the experience and write later. I don't mean you can't write while you're there, but I mean if you go out into a quiet area in the desert, you don't like bring a notebook and write right there, do you?
I actually, so for this album, I didn't write out any of the lyrics until I needed to in order to post it on some website.
Oh, neat.
I mean, I knew everything had a placement, and I could recite it whether, without the words or not, or without it written out or not. And it's just there for the sake of keywords, and people were searching it. And I'm glad that I did do that to get it out and everything. But other than that, I mean, so I do the equivalent of writing a notebook, which is setting it aside in my head and stuff. And so a lot of times I am writing in the moment and what I'm doing too, because of the inspiration of just like the good feeling within that time.
This is a unique blend of ballad and rap. I always call it a rap ballad album, and I don't know that many of those exist. So even if you're not into rap or ballads, go check this out. You might be surprised.
Also, I don't know if this, I haven't decided yet if this is a good thing to publicize or not. Like if it makes it sound cooler or just crappier. But the whole album was recorded with my iPod.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That is a impressive thing, because we had you do a remix / cover of a third class song called Seattle Stars,
which is also on the album too.
Yeah, and that's on Steve's album, and it's on a compilation of ours of third class called Seattle Stars. So check that out too. But yeah, when you sent it to me, I was like, whoa, neat. I was like, that's awesome. And like, it was neat that he did it all on an iPod, because like, I don't think I would have guessed. I definitely even said to him that I thought he was sitting on a desktop with GarageBand out. But these days, there's not much difference between that and using a phone. So it was cool that you could utilize that. Real quick, one more music thing. If you had to only listen to one song over and over again, what would it be? And this is like...
Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy by Big and Rich.
Okay, that's cool. And that's not...
Drinking wine, flying high, having ourselves a big and rich time. And then I played every Willie Nelson song that I could think of. And we made love.
So then, taking a turn from music into just making videos, what is it? What do you think we've accomplished, or anybody, anywhere who happens to do like YouTube, like funny videos or stunt videos or online videos? I'm not going to ask you about the integrity of it, because that's been done to death. I think everybody knows that. I think most people are on board with the idea that now anybody can be a producer and anybody can be an actor, and that's okay, and it's totally just as official as anything. I don't think anyone's like, this doesn't count if it's online. I think that's over. I think it counts. But what is it that you find what's the best thing for you when you find people like Bullskit.com or people like Derek Comedy or The Boo when the Lonely Island started out and things like that? Like, what do you find about like mid to low level budget like comedy that like, I don't know, what is it that you love about? Why do you do it, and why do you watch it?
Well, something that's really special about it is kind of what the original incentive is, and when you're just hanging out with your friends, it's something to do, and so it's really, and that's how it's able to be maintained just on the internet, and having you just establish your position by what you post or whatever. And so like I said, the incentive is like the hobby, and so it's really cool how you can still use all the comedy for utilizing its potential.
Okay, so you're kind of saying that. Can you lean in just a little? Sorry, I guess this record is a little quiet. That's perfect. So you're kind of saying the initial reason for doing it is like seen in like when you watch them a little. Like, are you saying like when you know it's like friends, just because it's something they can do for cheap and something they can just do is like that's part of half the fun of watching or making. It's like because it's a group of what it looks like people are having fun together, let alone friends.
Right. It's more authentic because of the incentive being the hobby, and so it's different than getting paid for it, or just even freezing up on camera, or thinking too much of yourself. They're just going over your head, going too far in, going too deep, whatever what it may be, and it's just as a result, it's more of a casual interpretation, and it makes it a lot more pure.
I totally see that. I totally see that. I think I've been learning that lesson the last few years even more, where I leave in our mess ups on purpose when I edit the skits, and then I seek out skits that are like not poorly made, but definitely like online. If I'm looking for stuff, I don't really think about the camera quality or the technique of acting so much. The only thing that ever matters is if it's funny. It doesn't really matter otherwise. So like, I find myself leaving in these like clips of us goofing off and messing up because they're us just hanging out and not exacting anything on the viewer, and then more so, I think it's a hard lesson to learn because you run into those people that do any kind of art that are like, I don't do art for you, I do it for myself, and you're like, well, that's stupid. Why the hell are you even doing it? And that but then on the other side of the spectrum, when somebody tries to reach everybody, they reach nobody. Like if somebody's like, let's do something real broad, like just a straight up fart joke, and we'll do it really in a controlled environment, and we'll have a clown fart, and this will be. And I'm not saying fart jokes aren't awesome; they're awesome, but you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like if they just do something that's pandering to a large audience, then that doesn't matter either. So I've in the last few years, because of you and a lot of my friends who do like art in Ohio and art around anywhere, I've learned the lesson that like doing it with somebody else in mind is okay, but if you go too far that route, you just aren't an artist anymore. So I'm starting to understand that like doing it for you first is okay. Like making a song or a skit or a painting or just having a conversation that you want to have is the jumping off point to doing something for someone else. Like, and that's funny. It's a hard lesson for me to learn, but I think only in the last few years have I understood that like being kind of selfish and doing exactly what you want gets other people on to you. Like doing something in the most ridiculous idea that you think other people won't understand, they understand completely. Know what I mean? They like it's always like, should we explain everything? Should we do? No, you don't have to explain anything. You just do it. Yeah. So that's what's been like really a beautiful thing for me, is that like knowing that like if I want to make somebody laugh, I don't have to study them. Yeah. I just have to show them some kind of intimate part of me. Yeah. And they'll probably catch something that I didn't know they caught. Yeah. That's what's nice. Is like you can't study them and be like, what do they like? I will get this right. No. You just show them all of you, and they'll catch like 10 of 100 things that they like. Right. You know what I mean? That's why I'm okay with doing this podcast. It's like we can talk about whatever the hell we want, and maybe like one thing will catch here, one will catch, like that's why it's cool.
Yeah, and the truth of it all is, like you said, I definitely agree, doing it for yourself first, but the essence of that is doing it.
Yes.
That's just it. Like, right. And that's what the overanalyzing in this situation is representing, where you overanalyze it to the point where you just don't do it. And
everybody talks themselves down from it. That's a lesson I learned from. I listened to the podcasts with Jay and Silent Bob of all people, and I mentioned this last time. But see, it's weird. It's like their movies are okay, and I kind of like them, but them as people, that's what it is. Like they were just like, we're having this podcast for like just a couple small cool reasons, and half of it's just banter and who cares. But it's those little things you catch in the middle of them talking where they crack up that makes me like them. So that's what's cool. Is like it wasn't about. It's like you said. It wasn't. They didn't overanalyze it. They just turned it on and went, because they knew they were worth something.
Yeah. yeah, it's something to listen to, and we like talking about ourselves. So check out how cool we are.
Yeah, and it's neat because there's not much else you can talk about. There's just not much else you can talk about. That's what's neat.
Other than ourselves.
Yeah. Right. But that's what I mean. It's like in any form when you're asking questions to anybody else and having conversation, you got nothing but yourself to give back. So I don't feel I don't feel funny about that anymore. I think I had to hang up about it for a long time. But yeah, I don't care anymore. Like I think just screwing around and talking is how people get to the next level in like a relationship, in a job, in a life, in like a song. It's just about punching out those little dents that you don't know are there.
Right.
But anyhow, I was going to ask you. That kind of brings me to the next thing. What do you think when you hear the word nursery? What do you think of when you hear that? Like, obviously you know me and you have a lot of the same things in your head as me, but what do you think about that? Just the name.
I guess I think about the nursery for children, but specifically in like the basement of a church, not in like
I like that.
a grocery store or in town, like specifically a church, and
I forgot they're in grocery. Yeah, there's the little kids like daycare
too.
Yeah, because daycare is part of a nursery definition. It is. It's
there an exercise area thing too. Like
they're everywhere. It's true. That's true. I like that you say in the basement of a church. Yeah, that's Sunday school type stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because I'm a Christian. So
summer camp Christian. No, that's cool, man. I like that image. That's why I ask you, because I don't care to collect every little definition, but I definitely like know that can be a broadened term that like goes to imagination in a weird way. And I remember being in church with you as a kid and running around. We were pretty bad as kids. We were pretty bad, man. We were like those ones that like climbed over the pews and like yelled during the service. Our mom had to like take us outside. It was weird. They
I think that was just you and Jack.
It was Jack. It was actually just Jack. But like we were bad, but Jack made us look good because he would like do the thing where he'd like seriously like just climb over a pew.
Just Jack.
Yeah, just Jack. Yeah, he was especially like just crazy as a kid. I remember him laying down on the sidewalk when he didn't get a toy he wanted.
Yeah.
And then my mom like tried to like be tough and drive away while he was on the sidewalk. She didn't know what to do. God, man, people that raise 3 boys, that's just horrifying.
Good game of chicken.
It's a big game of chicken because,
Except they're running away from each other, but,
Yeah.
They're waiting for
But they're playing chicken as to who's going to cave in, because our mom raised me, my younger brother Jack, and my youngest brother Steve as a single mom because our dad died in 93. I was 9, Jack was 7, Steve was 4 when he died. So for the largely, it was her versus the 3 of us and our sense of humor. Can you just imagine? There were some really good times, but man, can you imagine it?
So as a result, we're overly sensitive, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
I am a feminist.
I guess she had a big if we made her into
we're all feminists.
If we made her into like somebody who has a guy's sense of humor, she made us into sensitive guys. So it worked both ways.
So we're very sensitive, but we're very independent and confident, and I don't need you, and I'm better than you, and that's why we're doing this podcast, and we like talking about ourselves.
Okay, so going a little bit back to like short films of comedy and stuff, and just movies in general. What's your favorite movie of all time and why?
Ooh. That's a tough one. Friday the 13th, Part 3. It's in 3D.
Nice. Is that really your favorite one?
Either that one or the 8th one, Jason Takes Manhattan. That's a good one, too. Oh my god, that's so good.
See, I always think that you and... This is our friend Brandon who does Bull Skit with us. I always thought you guys were watching those, not ironically, but for the love of some sort of nostalgic Halloween type thing that people do.
Yeah.
But stop me if I'm wrong, but was that the initial thing and then it just caught on too much and you were like, I actually like it now? Like, was it like, I know you didn't hate it, but all of a sudden were you like, I'm just gonna watch this I watch this by myself, it's just awesome, like, you know, like...
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so, but I also wasn't, like, surprised that I liked it, though, too.
Right.
And it's not like there's anything very unique about those movies. People dying, it's silly, and yeah, it's not ironic for their reasoning of liking it, but right.
But you're comfortable with the movie.
Right.
Yeah, that I heard Alison Brie from Community and Mad Men on the Nerdist podcast I was listening to, and she named some movie, I think it was called The American President, which I've never seen. It's a 90s movie, and she puts it on, and it's not that she thinks it's bad. It's like you. It's not that she thinks it's bad, but she just puts it on while she's like making breakfast. That's like her favorite movie because it can just be there rolling with her life. Like, and I imagine that's what Friday the 13th is for you, that you can just like put it on, maybe not pay that much attention to it, but just have it on, and like just be like, this is my soul food, or something, you know, that kind of thing.
I've actually done something similar where I put it on and then muted it and listened to a playlist.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, I just went backwards all the time. No, I just listened to some playlists of some, not ambient music, but a little bit like slowed down, more music. And it was actually really neat because coincidentally, a lot of times it did like time out with it within the moment. And those kind of movies, dialogue's not important. So it's a win-win. It actually kind of makes it a little bit better. So that was really neat. Something I just thought of is a friend of ours, I remember her telling me this story about having the Royal Tenenbaums movie, the audio of it, not the soundtrack, but the audio of the movie on a cassette tape, listening to it, like in her car, all the time. She could recite that whole movie to you because of that.
Well, was that a mistake that she had that?
She might have got it as a result of a joke or something that, like, they talked about quoting it, and then she like took it further by actually listening to it, maybe. I can't remember exactly, but...
I'm sure you don't know this, but I'd really like to know, are you talking about something that somebody recorded for her manually, or are you talking about a cassette that exists of the movie on audio that's professionally made? I really want to know that, because if that exists like by itself in the same form, probably not. I'm guessing. I'm gonna confidently say that somebody just had this sound ripped to a cassette from the movie somehow.
Possibly.
If that exists, well, maybe that movie just works like that. Who knows? I never thought about it.
Well, I like the right to recording on it.
Yeah, who cares? You're right. That just sent me down another path, like a rabbit hole of thinking, like, does that exist? But anyways. So you're saying she put it on, listened to it a lot while she was driving. She must have enjoyed it. Like,
yeah.
You know, she wasn't just like, like she just liked it.
I still haven't seen that movie though, but I want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Seems like a good movie.
That's so neat, man. Yeah. You can never tell if people do things habitually or if they actually really love. Like, there's just that weird line where Friday the 13th falls in where you're like, I don't know anymore. It's just part of my life. I just do it. You know, like I just listen to Royal Tenenbaums audio now. You know, like she probably. I bet you, if I was like, "Do you really love Royal Tenenbaums?" She's like, yeah, whatever. It's on audio and I listen to it a lot. You know, it's like it's no more about like, check this out. This is awesome. It's just like part of her life.
Let's call her up. Let's get her on the phone.
I kind of want to ask her, but I think I know I don't know, man. I think I'm pretty confident that most people you ask about weird habits like that, they're just like, I don't know, I just do it. Yeah. You know, like that's just something that snuck its way into my life through subconscious things and just happening to see it a lot. You know, I don't know. That's how it works with me, at least. Like a lot of movies I like, there was a point where I really loved them, and now I'm just like, just watch them because they're awesome. Like UHF by Weird Al, like that's a good movie, but I'm not gonna freak out over it. I'm just gonna watch it a lot.
Right.
I don't know. But is there anything you want to add? Like any messages you have for the listener? Any advice that you feel like you can impart?
Yeah, Mom. When I get home tonight, I have some laundry that I want you to do for me, and if you could have a bowl of cereal for me when I get back. Frosted Flakes. If you pour Captain Crunch into the bowl, if you do that one more time, it's over. Okay. Frosted Flakes, please. Right. And one of the smaller spoons, not the bigger ones. You know that I don't like the bigger ones. They're too big and too cold for my teeth. Okay.
Dude, thank you. I hate those big spoons. I hate those.
Me too.
Dude, Ellen uses the big spoon, and her mouth is small.
What?
And I use the little spoon, and my mouth's pretty big. Like, I have a relatively, like... What the hell? Why do people use a big spoon?
Why would I want a bigger spoon?
I don't know. Those spoons are not even for anything except if you're... They're for nothing. I can't think of one thing.
More food, I guess.
Dude, those spoons suck. No, bigger bite, you're going to choke. They don't... Dude, and the ice cream scoop is a separate... That thing doesn't need to be there. Larger scoop of coffee grounds? Who cares? Does it save time?
I think you might be... You're not supposed to be eating with an ice cream scoop, dude.
No, I know. I don't do that. I mean, I do that. You eat with an ice cream scoop. Everyone knows that, but...
What?
You know when you're eating with an ice cream.
Like the ice cream scoop.
You know,
how
obviously...
am I supposed to eat it with the ice cream scoop?
How are you supposed to eat?
I almost... slip my tongue every time I click that little thing back and forth.
Now, how are you supposed to eat ice cream with the ice cream scoop? Hey, I do it. I follow the rules, but that's a weird thing. And furthermore...
Salad forks? What's the deal with salad forks?
Salad forks? God, those things taste horrible. Are you supposed to eat those?
No, dude, they're forks your salad.
What? They fork your salad?
Yeah.
Wait, I was trying to say that for-your salad with fork. It was supposed to be funny.
But then I ended up being like, this podcast not
funny.
That'll be the last time I insult it.
Okay, you helped me come up with my tagline by talking up to Mom through the podcast. From now on, I'll try to remember at the end to say, thank you guys for listening to Nursery the Podcast. I'm Lee Boyle. My guest was Steve Boyle. And look, Mom, I'm on a podcast. Or, look, Mom, we're on a podcast. That'll be it.